Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, creepy friends. Welcome to Nixie Bobs. I don't know if I'm starting off with this bit, but we're going to record it anyway. So I kind of told you guys a little bit of a lie last week when I got the Heat lipstick, which, is that behind me? Yeah, that's behind me on here. I told you a little lie. I said I was going to wait. I couldn't wait. I was too excited and I kind of got carried away in it. Everywhere was selling out. So I have Urban Decay's Naked Heat. I did pay the full whack for this because sadly Feel Unique didn't have it, and as I say, I was just too excited. So I have it and I've been waiting 3 days to play with this, and we're going to do it here right now on Let's Play, as opposed to doing the standard of attempting to do swatches on the arm and rubbing fingers in the shadows, which I really don't like doing. Some people can afford to buy one of these to swatch with and to mess around with and then bin it. I can afford one at best. We are just going to do it like that from now on. So Let's Play, I will normally try and do several different looks with the same palette. So with this one, we're going to start the inaugural episode, Let's Play, with this one. And I'll start by showing you the palette because the packaging on this is just insanely amazing. Should let you know these retail for $39.50, brand new in the shop. So it's not a cheap palette, but with these, again, with Urban Decay, you always get what you pay for. Unlike some of the others, you slide this thing of beauty out. It shows you on the back just the brush and all that. I'm someone who always tends to keep the packaging with things. So on the back packet, you've got like burnt roses. I think they're burnt roses, or roses kind of like embroiled in flames, slowly burning. You tip the lovely palette out, which I'm going to be very careful with. And what I love is that in the back, to match up the shading on here, you have this match effect. So it goes from like the lightest shade to the darkest shade. It's such a clever little idea. And I love the effect of it. I just think that's such a well thought out design. Just for the boxing alone, it's really super amazing. Right there. And here are all the shades. You do get this little brush complete with it, which I'm not going to use. But I just think that's such a clever little idea to show you from light to dark, especially if you're not completely smart or affiliated with knowledge of shadows and palettes and what you can do with it. Like me, I'm not a boffin. I don't know what I'm doing, but we have fun doing it. So the shades are certainly, they come from a white, they come down to your normals, and then you have the reds going into the purple and the burnt shades up here. It's a lovely mixture of matte and glimmer. There's not too many shimmer shades. Let's have a look. This is slightly shimmery, but not too much. So I would say 1, 2, 3, about 4 shimmer shades. The rest are kind of matte to semi-matte. So I've been trying to think what to do with these since looking at the palette. I mean, the only thing I've swatched is Dirty Talk, so you can probably see I've got a little line through Dirty Talk there. That was me. I don't, as I say, like to put my fingers on this and try and wet it down and do it like that. That is just not my kind of bag. Actually, I'm wrong. Quince isn't shimmer, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So I have done my eyebrows already, and I have put on a base coat of a primer. And what I've been doing recently is using the NYX Studio Photogenic Concealer as a primer. So I've been mixing in a bit of standard Minocin and this, and I find that this dries quite well. It's quite a drying concealer, so it does actually make for a really good base for shadows. My brows at the minute look ridiculous. I know I look like the baby out of The Simpsons, not Maggie, but that weird unibrow one that she hates. So once eyeshadow is on, it will not look as weird as this, I promise. It just looks very strange while sitting here like this. My kind of bag looking at this is how am I going to do it and simplify it for every day. I will say for England, for the last week, it is a lovely day. There is a blue sky looking out on me. I'm so happy about that. And I'm going out towards the seaside today, not going bathing or anything. There's a certain place I want to go to. So it's going to be a good day. So I kind of want to mirror the effect of the day as well. And I've been up for so long and I'm only just getting ready and it's like 10:30. So welcome to my life. I'm slow as hell. What am I going to do? Well, I'm not sure actually. How am I going to strip this back just a little bit but still make it equally cool? So the shades that really jump out at me immediately are Enfuego and Ashes, which are the 2 shades right here. I'm just in love with them. But to transition them, I'm going to have to come down to some of these shades as well. And I would love to be able to get He Devil or Cayenne into it as well, but I'm thinking I'm mainly going to stick to some of these. Lumber is a lovely shimmery shade. Again, I'm trying to do exactly what I hate. Should we just see where we go with it and see what I make up? Because that tends to be when I'm the most creative as opposed to sitting here overthinking it. So what I'm going to do, as you guys know, I zoom in with the camera and I don't sit here and do posing at the end. What you see is what I do, and that is the way we're going to do it. So I'm just going to splint you guys up a little bit. So right here, right now, you've got a good view of my eye and you're going to be able to see everything that I do. So we've got a blank canvas. We're ready to go. I am going to start, I'm actually going to start by doing this area first, like just transitioning colours up here. So I'm actually going to use my Tarte brush for that because I actually love this one. It'll be a mixture of the Tarte and the Morphe, which are both fluffy blending brushes and really, really good. I'm going to start, I think, with the shade Sourced, which is this one right here. It's like an orangey shade. And I'm actually going to use the Morphe brush first. It's all so pigmented. If I can tell you one thing, if you're going to get a palette, if it's not going to be a Tarte one, I would really recommend it be Urban Decay because you really get what you pay for. Everything is so pigmented, everything lasts for ages, and you're never going to be disappointed with a UD palette. So I've just started to accent up there, as you can see. I don't know technical terms. I will say as well, the other thing I sometimes do, if you can't get a straightness, I mean, what I will do is I will normally just do the shadow as I see fit, and then if I've made any mess, I'll normally use my under eye concealer to correct that. But a little hack that you can do if you don't want to do that is to take the concealer. You can use tape. Some people use tape. I don't like the idea of putting tape in my eyes. And just, if I do a line here, which is where the flick's going to go, that should help you keep within the realms of your eye. Just a little hack that I do. You don't have to do that, and obviously you can blend it out at the end. So the next shade, we've used Sourced. I'm going to transition now, I think, into maybe Fuego, which is like it's almost magenta, actually. There it is there. It's a really nice shade. Let's see how we get on with this. This could go really well or be really, really bad. This is the fun when I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to kind of try and concentrate this into this edge of my eye, not so much up and over. So I'm actually, you know what, I'm going to use a different brush for that. I'm going to use the Smashbox one, because it's got a slightly fluffier tip, but it's also a little bit more pointy. So as opposed to it dispersing anywhere I don't want it to go, it will go exactly where I want it to go. Just going to come back with the Tarte brush and just give it a little bit of a blend up into there so that it blends nicely. It just kind of looks not unnatural, but just so that it blends nicely, not that end, and transitions well above the eyebrow. I don't like going too high to the eyebrow. It's starting to look really pretty. So my last shade that I'm going to use prospectively will be Ashes, which is right there. Which is the purpley shade, and the brush fell out. I was expecting that to happen. I am actually going to use one of my Eco Tools brushes because I want to use that just on the outer corner here. And this is the flat end. It's kind of similar to what we just used with Smashbox, and I can't do this with one hand, which is this kind of end. I'm going to pat it in to the Ashes shade, which is very, very purple. I'm going to pat it onto that outer corner. And I think that the moped idiots are back, by the way, in case anyone can hear bike noises from outside. Come back with this one, and I'm going to disperse that just along and up. To realise we don't actually have a colour on this part, so I'm going to do that in a sec. I've forgotten all about that. The one last thing I'm going to do is just give myself a little bit of pop more colour up here. So I'm going to go to the second shade after Sourced, which is Low Below. Can I show you that, guys? I think I'm showing you that, which is right there. Or shall I use He Devil? Do you think I should use Low Below? I'm going to use He Devil, actually. Sorry, I'm going to change my mind. Which is right there, which is it's the lightest of the red shades. I'm just going to put a dabble of that. I don't want too much, and I'm just going to blend that up and in. Ooh. This has no colour on it at all, so this will just blend it all in. Whew. Wow, I'm happy with that. That suits me down to the ground. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Quince, which is the palest shade in the whole thing. I'm going to bring that into this inner piece right here, just to get a little bit of brightness, and just into that outer corner there, or inner corner, sorry, getting my cornering wrong. Same Morphe brush, just to transition that in. That I am very, very happy with that myself. That appeals to my needs. So that now, with using that little bit of concealer, is just framed around the eye perfectly. So you don't need to worry too much about it. Obviously, you can do heavier styles with this. I don't want to, but as you guys know, that's just not really my thing to do. But I will say it when we do Auto Bridge in October, this bad boy is going to get used to the max. So before I just quickly buzz through this eye, I'm going to line this eye so we can see the finished effect. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to reach for an eyeliner and I keep going out of shot. My general liquid liners are Supercats because which is Soap and Glory, which is a Boots brand. Very, very inexpensive. This is like £6, and to me this does everything a higher brand one can do for a lot less of the money. So I'm just, hopefully I'm not going to go out of shot here. So that's how I normally have my eyeliner. I do need to just level it out slightly here, but I don't generally go for a very, very heavy thickness on mine. That's just not my thing to do. Now that you've seen me complete this eye, I'm going to go and quickly do this eye. So there you go, that's both eyes and shadow applied. And I'm so pleased with the way that's come out. It's exactly as I'd pictured it in my mind. Probably could have done a bit of job with my eyeliner flicks, but I may take those off and redo those in a bit. But what I'm going to go and do now is finish the face, and then I will do my undershadowing when I'm done. Okay, look at that! That is great. Anyone who's interested, Benefit Roller Lash Mascara was used, and Becca's Ultimate Complexion Creme, which is just my holy grail of foundation world at the minute, especially if I'm having a bad skin day. You probably saw before applying this I did have a few little evil areas, and it just solves everything. And the best thing about it is it goes nowhere all day. The only other additional thing I used, I did put on just a little bit of Laura Geller's Balance and Glow over it, just a small dusting, almost as a setting powder. It's a nice day outside, so I just wanted my skin to have that final glow. And a little bit of blusher and Becca's Pressed Opal Highlighter, which isn't quite opal, more it's gold, but it does give a lovely flush of the cheeks. I don't contour, I don't do anything excessive. I am only going out. For me, my weekends are experimenting with makeup, so I probably apply a little bit more than the average person does going out. Lipstick, of course, is Urban Decay's Heat. I've been dying to try this out since buying it last week, and my eyes aren't too heavy that I can wear it together. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, if anyone's been looking at this little graze and can see any slight bruising going on down here, I nearly took my eye out at work on Sunday last week. I had a cage door whack me in the face. Still can't work out quite how it happened. I'm sure it's one of the ghosts at work, actually. I'm like 99% convinced, because that thing seemed to just open on its own. It was locked, and it just puffed me in the face. And I was literally bleeding all down my face. I'm actually very lucky, but I won't lie, I wanted a black eye. When I did it, I woke up the next morning, I was thinking, go on, give me some bruising, and I had nout. I was so upset. I was like, I wanted a black eye. I really did. I've never had anything like that happen before, so I was like, oh. But yeah, if anyone's wondering what that is, it's healed a lot better than it did, but realistically, I'm lucky, A, that I didn't do worse damage, and B, that I didn't have to go to A&E for stitches. But it was funny because I saw the blood and thought I'd made my nose bleed. So I've come downstairs at work holding my nose and everyone's recoiling at me because I had blood running down my face and I didn't know. The last thing we're going to do is just slightly under shadow, but because I've got all the darkness concentrated into the corner of the eye, I'm only really going to come about halfway around and just blend it with my finger out slightly, just really to soften it up. So the two brushes I'm going to use for this is my small tipped Morphe one, and this cargo one, which actually came with a palette yonks ago, and it's still one of my favourites. I'm going to use this to blend slightly under. Probably not the right brush to do it with, I don't care. The shades we used quite a few neutral tones, but also we used the likes of Fuego and Ashes. So I think realistically, looking at the tones, I'm going to say He Devil, which is the red tone we use just to come back with and blend out again, is probably going to be my best bet, long as I don't go too far in with it. I'm just going to get a little bit on the corner. He Devil, by the way, is that one there, if you guys remember. I'm not going to zoom in too much with this because it's not really hugely worth it. And I'm just going to draw. I also want this to match up to the shadow, just under there. But I also don't want it to be too leery. So you could just leave it something like this, but it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh like this, let's face it. So if I just bring in this brush and just lightly, A, blend it into that corner, and B, just slightly blend it down. Bring it just a little bit around. I just feel like sometimes, as good as makeup brushes are and as full of artistry as they are, sometimes just a little blend of the finger does the trick. So that just looks a little worn in and it's really, really super effective. Just gonna slightly make sure that the powder does blend into it. I didn't want to look completely zombified today, but I won't lie, I keep looking at this and going, eye zombie. So that may be coming up in the future. But just to repeat on this eye, okay. I'm actually now going to use the mirror behind the camera, which is never a good idea. Same brush again, give it a little blend. You know what, let's why am I trying to do this? It's never going to end well, is it, guys? And all done and dusted, not too leery, still a little bit dolled up, but happy enough to please me. And I'm so glad that I went into this completely blind, because as usual, when I go into things blind, everything works out better, and it's just completely worked out better. This is exactly what I had in my mind to do, but because this is a new series and because Let's Play, we're just going to keep playing with it. We're going to do another shadow look of this in the not too distant future, probably next week. So I'm looking forward to playing with that again. I really want to do something very, very red, and I haven't used so many of these shades. I have not used Dirty Talk or Scorched or Cayenne. I want to use Fuego more. I haven't used Ember, I haven't used Cassia or Low Blow or Lumber. There's just so many things I can do with this, so I'm going to try and do as many as I can. I hope you enjoyed this first, it's kind of a first impression, it's kind of a review. It's Makeup Monday, because this is going to go out on Monday, and it's also the very, very first Let's Play. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do what you want. Don't get mean on the channel. If you've got an idea of any shading you want me to try with this within reason, throw it at me. I'm not one for big, massive, heavy looks, but for a bit of fun, I'm more than willing to try it. So throw anything at me and I'll see what I can do. And I will see everyone again for another Makeup Monday review of makeup. Let's Play. There's just so many things to do. Bye, everyone.